Okay, who in our society are the biggest slaves? Who do you think? Anything pop in? Well, let's have a look at it, because in our system, in our matrix society, in a holographic uniform, holographic system, those in a uniform, one form, they have to conform. So, anyone in a government control mind, uniform, mind control one form, well, they're obviously the biggest slaves, because they're unable to think creatively or think for themselves independently. Not that that's possible anyway, but they've put themselves in an environment where processes, procedures, told what to do constantly. And what's the penalty if they don't conform to uniformity? Well, then they're out. They're ostracized. And that's the biggest punishment to any child, is to be out of the group. Uniform, conform, ostracize. So obviously we have to create some sort of facade to tell people that this thing is brilliant. So nowadays, let's have a look at the police. The most insecure people on the planet, and most of them are, when they're not on the job, conforming to uniformity, they've got an alcoholic drink in their hand. Yep, look at the figures. Most alcoholic profession in the world. And of course, what is this doing? This is feeding the parasites, which is the cause of being a slave. So they're master. Who's the slave and who's the master here? Society says that it's great to drink alcohol and feed the slave mentality. So the master is the alcohol, the culture, the government uniformity. Yeah, as they say, armed forces are not much better. I mean, having said that, I applied for it a couple of times. I wanted to be, I was feeling really insecure at the time. Lots of emotional stuff in my early 20s. And you have a look at the process to acquire recruits. They take the middle ground. The dumbest, not allowed in. The smartest, not allowed in. Luckily, I was going for an officer and I was too smart, so they didn't like it. That was kind of cool. I was the second smartest person out of about 30, which my mind didn't like that because I was second. But hey, second out of 30 is pretty good, going for officers. And I am so glad that I didn't. That allowed me to actually travel and have independent thoughts and experiences outside of the matrix system. And of course, while someone may be strong up here, what is quite often going on between liver and spleen imbalance, which is the desire to dominate and compete, is so their thought patterns only go to this line here, which hasn't got to the subconscious mind, and comes straight across to duality, liver and spleen imbalance. And there's a bucket load of anger and angst and in the gallbladder, and of course feeling like an abandoned little child. Emotionally, what people are going through if they're drawn to something that provides a strong safety and security network, or a strong spine. You'll notice at the back of most people have got sore backs. That's why. And then of course they're sad, and all the sadness of their mother stories. So they're unable to fulfill or realize their emotional selves, which are keeping them in an emotional 5-year-old child, stuck as a slave in the matrix. So they have absolutely no idea what's going on in the gut, and it's not pretty. There's hundreds of meters of parasites in there, especially if they're drinking alcohol and haven't got a perfectly tailored diet to their body type and their imbalances. So, can we see through the matrix now that it's been removed, the illusion? Oh, and of course now, if you want to go into the cops, you've got to pay for that. You get a hex debt for it. Yeah, so you pay, 80 or 100 grand or so to do training to be a slave in the matrix. Because obviously once you realise and you're in there, it's a crap job. Because also, look at the mirror theory. Who are they attracting? They're attracting the scum in society. drug dealers, garbage, all sorts of problems. So obviously they're not going too good for where they actually think they're at. Bit of a reality check, right? A little bit different way to think about it. But if it was a good job and they were actually helping people, they just think they are, and usually just controlling and interfering in the general day-to-day basic lifestyle that people are trying to get around and do things based on fear, because they're not connected to the kidneys. Different way to look at it, isn't it? Yeah. And then once you know that, you could just tell them that, hey, who's the biggest slave here? And they go, what? You can stand and hold your power. You're not allowed to do that. You're a free person. You're an independent, powerful entity. That's the biggest, most scariest thing as someone who's conforming to uniformity. Massive, huh? So if it was a handy job, they wouldn't force police. Force is written on the head and on the arms. Force. Boom. It's right there in front of us, isn't it? It would be nice if it was a police service, like it used to be. See how the Matrix evolves. Who's the biggest master and slave now?